Hello and welcome to a new episode of Comic Book Weekly, and we actually have a very exciting show today. Now, we don't have Mike this week. He needed one more week to take a break, so we are giving him that, and then next week he'll be back, and as we always say, hopefully everyone will be back. Last week when I was under the weather, I found out I had COVID, so that's what my week was last week.
Yeah, and then my whole household got COVID at the end of last week. So plus, and my in-laws, so it was like this whole, domino effect. So
Yeah, the COVID is very real right now, so stay safe. But we are here, and I am feeling a lot better, and I hope your family, Lisa, is on the mend.
yeah, Lisa's on the mend. My she's in the middle of it. So, but everybody else seems to be on the mend, so that's good.
Yeah, well, hopefully your mom feels better soon. I also realized I didn't even share this on social media. So when we answer some news stuff, I'll share on social media. But we do hopefully have a guest coming on very soon. We're going to talk about some news. And then once, as we wait for him, and then when our guest comes on, we will chat with him. But why don't you introduce our guest here who will be joining us shortly?
Yeah, so this is actually an old friend of mine that I've actually never talked to. His name is DJ Keawekane, and he has his first Kickstarter up live right now called Exillion, Creed of the Knightenhawke issue 1. So he'll be on to talk about that and kind of reminisce and get to talk with me face to face for the first time in almost 20 years. So it's pretty cool.
That's crazy. It's kind of weird how the internet works and strange and mysterious ways in that way. You can know somebody for so long.
Right.
But yeah, let's get into some news. So Brant, you wanted to talk about the new Disney Plus show that was announced, which was Wonder Man. I don't know if I've ever even read a Wonder Man comics, which is why I didn't have too many thoughts on it. But yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
So my curiosity with Wonder Man, because Wonder Man has like a long history with Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Right.
And at one time, Vision and Wonder Man possessed the same body, right? Or, he came back in that form and whatever. So I'm really curious to see, because, we have the Scarlet Witch TV show on Disney Plus as well, if there's any kind of tie between them or they'll build towards that or anything. So that's why I'm like kind of excited about it. I haven't read anything Wonder Man in a long time since he was a member of the Avengers, which was way back. But so I'm just excited for that and curious to see what direction they'll go with the character.
All right, well, let's get in. That was actually all our media news, which is kind of crazy. It wasn't too big on that one. Well, but let's get into another thing you wanted to talk about was, all of us wanted to talk about, but was Tim Sale's sudden and sad death. He's obviously done so much for the comic industry, but also did like Heroes art, stuff like that. So
yeah, that's really where he fell on my radar. I didn't read a whole lot of like the Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, all that stuff. But yeah, the Heroes art I was like totally immersed with during the height of that show. And when I found out who it was, of course I looked into him and sought out more stuff. And so yeah, I just wanted to quickly, give our condolences to the friends and family of Mr. Sale. And it was a shock and too young. So
yeah, very shocking. Just kind of came out of nowhere. Want to say hi to all the people that are in the comments right now. So we do have GT Key Comics. Thank you for joining us. The name changes. It's also in the comments here. We have Mike Manhattan. Willie Belcher is in the comments. And then we have Jace Traber, who's also in the comments. So thank you guys for joining us for, again, a fun show. A lot of things to talk about this week. Also, you want to talk about Planet of the Apes joining Marvel. This is also kind of came out of left field. I know that everyone's making like properties exchanges right now.
Yeah, it's so strange. And like I was reading the article, and apparently like in the 70s Planet of the Apes was with Marvel, so it's like Star Wars. It's gone back home basically. But I really love like the modern movies, the trilogy that they did. So I hope that
those are pretty good.
Yeah, I hope they can live up to that and do something cool with the franchise going forward. But it was just like, it was such a weird story. I was like, well, I got to talk about that. It's Planet of the Apes. That's so odd that they're going heavy into the license game again, Marvel. So
Yeah, I mean, especially because like I haven't really heard that many people talking about like the Alien and Predator stuff, and Predator
right,
was delayed for such a long time. That was delayed for I think over a year. So it's kind of
yeah,
weird that they're like, no, we want to still do more properties, even though the ones we have been taking a little while to get off the ground.
right, yeah, and I think they've done a decent job with Star Wars, but we all ended up dropping it at some point. So it's
I dropped it way before you guys.
yeah, yeah. I keep going back. Every time they put out a new one, like they put out Obi-Wan, I got the first issue of that. I'm like, well, it's decent, but I don't know if it's gonna keep me. As much as I love the shows and the movies, it's just I don't know. I think they're doing a fine job with them, but I think Dark Horse did as well. So you know, I
Yeah,
don't know.
and I mean, you
I don't
still
know.
have some of the other Star Wars extended universe stuff that's going
Yeah,
on in at IDW, and it's interesting to
right.
see where that all is. Also, one thing we're not going to go too much detail, but was one of the bigger news pieces was that Conan is going to Titan, which
Yeah.
was interesting. Like that's a much smaller company, so I don't. But I think it does. I believe Titan does have like more attachment to like film, if
Oh
I
yeah,
remember
they've got
correctly.
so many franchise stuff. They have Doctor Who. They have I can't think of it right off the top of my head. There was like several big
Life is
franchises that they're
Strange.
handling.
I think they
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed. I think they had at one point. I don't know if they still do or not. Stuff like that. So yeah, there are definitely media ties there.
Yeah, so maybe for them that's what made more sense, or they just was able to get the license a little easier.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing, speaking of, again, it just seems like it's just a franchise week, but TMNT is getting another IDW series, but it's going to be more geared to the cartoon.
Yeah. So this is interesting. They've been doing the TMNT stuff and doing it well for years now, but now they're revisiting that 1987 cartoon that a lot of us, my generation, fell in love with the Turtles on. That was like the first version of Turtles I ever saw, and it's kind of a similar version that Archie put out in their books, and that's what I read. So this is like my childhood, and I'll be curious to see like how well it holds up because I mean we're talking late 80s here, so and very aimed towards kids, and so we'll see how well it holds up. But I'm definitely excited about them revisiting that world and seeing what they do with it.
All right, well, let's get into what else we have here. I wanted to talk about the new Mystic Marvel book, which is weird that I want to talk about it, but the
Right?
Midnight Suns, but Nico's in it, so that's why I want to talk about it.
Mm,
So it's Midnight Suns. You have let's see, Zoe Lavio, which is the character from Strange Academy. Nico, Magic, of course, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Kushala, and Blade. I just thought it was really an interesting mix of people, but there's just characters I like Magic. I don't know why Wolverine's there, but that's
I was
interesting.
about to say one of these things is not like the other. Yeah.
Yeah, Wolverine just kind of randomly there. But then, Nico. So I'm excited for Nico.
Yeah, of course. It's just it was a ragtag group of characters, and I didn't notice Nico was in it. I was like Wolverine and Ghost Rider. No, I'm good.
Oh yeah, no. If Nico is not on the team, I would not mark
Right.
this piece. Again, I'm
Yeah.
semi interested because Magic, because I always want to like the
Right.
character and then never do. But or at least there's never opportunity for me to love an ongoing with her. I think she really shines
Yeah.
in like one shots.
Yeah, she's a really cool and interesting character, but I don't think there's never been a story that's like, okay, this is pulling me into Magic's world, and it's just, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I read the last issue of a New Mutants because it was 25. It was the first. It was centered on her, and I hadn't read that book in a long time, so I was like, I'll just try it, and I actually really enjoyed it because it was all about her. But then going forward, I don't know where it's going to go, so I don't know if I'll continue with it. But yeah, they need to do something with Magic.
They do, for sure. Not just New Mutants, but other
Yeah.
stuff too. Parker Luck asks where Mike is. Mike is just gearing up, coming back, so he is going to be back next week because he just needed a little bit of a breather, and then to give his all for the show. So he will be back next week. All right, let's get into some big stuff here. I don't want to do our main topic yet, but let's talk about Tim Drake getting his own ongoing. This is the same writer who's done, and we're going to talk about later because the DC Pride book came out this week with Tim Drake. It's that same writer who's been doing the Batman urban legend stuff, which I've been honestly really liking. I've enjoyed her writing for Tim. I think my biggest critique of that run is like, oh, there's not enough space to do things, you know, like there's just too much that's going on and you like want more pages. So I think it's so great that like she's going to continue with the story that she has. And I've very much enjoyed the representation she's written and just the character. And I'm excited to see what she ends up doing with Tim as a whole, especially because he's going to be part of Batman now. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. And I think they picked the right person.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the Tim story in the Batman Urban Legends book as well. And I miss Tim Drake having his own series. That's like one of the books.
A long time.
Yeah, that's one of the books though. Like every time he had his own series, that was one of the DC books. Even when I wasn't reading that much DC, that I was like, okay, he's my favorite Robin. He's the Robin for me. So I'm excited about this as well.
Bear F says, annoyed that Tim Drake's book has to replace the Damian run. Why can't we have two Robin books? Was it officially confirmed that Robin was getting canceled though? I know that Joshua Williamson was leaving. But do we know that someone's not going to pick it up?
I thought somebody else was just going to take over writing it, was my understanding, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Because I agree. I would love to have both Robins. I think that's great. We have so many Batman books that are just about Batman. Like if we're going to have so many Batman books, let's have it about, you know, different fan favorite characters. SM Down acts pretty much a question only for me, but Young Justice Targets came out. He read it. He thought it was awesome. I did not, because I really don't currently like Young Justice's season, and it's the same writer and the same team that's been doing the show, so I wasn't a big fan of it. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and people that enjoyed the show are enjoying the content that's coming out. But let's talk about our main topic here. So this is weird. We get to see Superman's getting like this secret sidekick for World's Finest. And, you know, we've seen sidekicks before, especially for characters that normally don't have sidekicks. But World's Finest has been such an interesting book where they just keep doing really off the wall things. So I'm honestly interested to see what this is all about.
Yeah, this again, it's like it comes out of nowhere. And it's like, who is this character? Well, I mean, obviously it's going to probably tie into the story in that issue or that arc or whatever. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see who it is and where it comes from. And I think there's like, this article has like a cover of a similar costume from like a really old comic. So there's probably somebody they're bringing back in some form or fashion. I have no idea who this is. So, I mean, of course they call him Boy Thunder. So you got Boy Wonder and Boy Thunder now. So my question is, why does Superman need a sidekick? He's got Supergirl, he's got Superboy, he's got Krypto. I mean, does he really need a sidekick?
I don't think so. Maybe just an apprentice. Maybe he's like, oh, you got to learn the ropes. But like, why this guy? Right. Curious to see what that's about. SM Down asks us a question: does Robin have solo adventures? Yeah, plenty. Almost like all his ongoing runs are solos. So just like look for a book that says Robin, and you'll find a solo adventure.
Yeah.
Even the current one, the Damian one, is pretty much just him from the beginning, except for the crossover going on right now.
Right. Yeah. Except for that, it was all about him on that Death Tournament Island.
Jace says that World's Finest is my favorite DC book. That's awesome. Mike Manhattan asks us if we went to see Top Gun. I was supposed to see it this Sunday. I had COVID, so I have not seen it. I'm trying to go see it this weekend, so we'll see.
Yeah. No.
No Top Gun. Doesn't mean we don't want to see it. But yeah, that's actually all the news. So I know we're still waiting for our guest. Was there any news before we jump into our Kickstarters we can start with?
Yeah. You want to go ahead since yours just launched today? And I'll pull mine up.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to screen share my Kickstarter that, yes, you are correct, that just launched today. It's by Visibility, a bisexual anthology. So it's the second volume, but really you don't need to read the first volume to enjoy this. They're all short stories that range from different genres. We have romance, sci-fi, vampires, superheroes, reality television, which I wrote. And we have a lot of great creators here too. From the top of my head, Christopher Peterson, who's done some Boom Studios books. We have, I want to like go down the list because I don't want to forget anybody. Lisa Sturl, she did the cover. Oh, what's that?
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so Lisa Sturl, who's done so many great stuff, like Witch Blood from Vault and Harper Collins Squad. She does the covers, 2 covers for us, and one of the stories here. Then we have Chris Sheehan, who actually did some work for Something's Killing the Children spinoff, House of Slaughter. So he was artist for a few issues of that one. Skim through. Craig did Craig Kremick, I think is how you Kermack. Did the art for my story, and he did Mana Mungi. I think he did some DC books as well. Scrolling through just to get names that you might recognize. Kevin, I think his name's Kendall Good. Colors are amazing. Done a lot of different color work for WWE and different properties. Pat Chand is here. So a lot of great creators. Just scrolled down really quickly, but hopefully you guys could go check it out. Really proud of the book. Been working on it for a long time, and in our first day, we've gotten some good amount of backers. So I'm happy about that. So hopefully you guys could go support, because we do have a hefty goal of $25,000. So definitely want to make that goal to make this book possible. And I will share you guys the link so you guys could go check it out. Now, you also have a Kickstarter going on. It's been going on for a little while.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks left, and I apologize for that noise that may happen again, so just bear with me. It's my backup for my computer, and if it goes out, my computer's going to go off. So we'll cross our fingers it doesn't happen again. But yeah, our current Kickstarter, this is the first book that Lisa and I have co-written together. It's Curious, or We're All Mad Here, #1. It is a Wonderland comic. It's our version of Wonderland. We got some gender swapping going on. Obviously, Mad Hatter in our version is a woman. So this is a story about Alec, which is Alice's son, getting pulled back into Wonderland in the midst of a brewing civil war with some mystery leader behind this, and they have to join together and combat the forces that are trying to take over Wonderland and kind of send it down a dark path once again. We got some gorgeous covers. This is the main cover by series artist Marco DeFillo. And there's some character sketches. We got some preview pages here on the page that you can read some of the story. And I'm going to scroll down to the covers. There's a better look at Marco's cover. We got this by Kyle Roberts and Gab Contreras. Got this beautiful cover by Robin Richardson. Nitho Diaz, Tiago Gomez, and Maury Hollowell, all Marvel artists, did this cover. And then we've got a cover by Ksenia Zelentsova, who has done some Disney and Star Wars Celebration work and stuff like that. So we also just added this tier yesterday, which you can get comic-sized prints of all our covers in a bundle or as an add-on, so you can check that out. And so it's live for 2 more weeks, ends on July 5th, so you still got time. And we are I think we're around like 83 or 84% funded at this point, so.
Nice. I think SM Down asked Life All I Daughter a question just in case other people have it. That's my other book. It's a superhero book. It's my first book. And is there going to be another one? Yes, there is going to be another one. Issue 8 has been done for honestly a very long time. It is mostly just because we've had so many Kickstarters. So things come, some like By Visibility is a bigger book, so that kind of took priority, but it has been done. And I will have that last issue hopefully soon. Literally, we're just waiting for one cover, and that might end up being the next Kickstarter. If we don't get the cover, the Dancer issue 3 will most likely be the next Kickstarter. So we're just figuring that out, and that'll be like 3 weeks or 2 weeks right after By Visibility. So got a lot of Kickstarters going on. Oh, we actually got a super chat from Gus. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. How are we as a comic community going to fight deforestation? Did we add a CRV at the time of purchase or anything or something? Actually, that's a really good question. I just didn't expect that question. So, how are we going to stop it? I don't know. I think digital comics would be the answer to that, but I think a lot of people like physical comics. So I don't know if there's answers. I guess you could ask the book companies the same thing, right?
I mean, I think the answer is, social, not what's the word I'm looking for? Conscious people in that industry would be involved in programs that would replant as they cut up, right? So that's like the only way to keep it going and still have our planet producing oxygen, so which is a good thing because we need that.
We do need oxygen, probably more than comics.
Well,
but like it's hard
obviously.
because the paper, like the recyclable paper, would be harder to read on. So that could be an option, but I don't know if it really is. So yeah.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's a really cool question, especially with the paper shortage going on, which has affected all comic companies and creators and us as well. So.
Yes, we very much are knowing about this paper shortage for sure. Thank you so much, guys, for the $5 super chat and the question.
Absolutely.
A very thoughtful
Thank
question.
You.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I think we are gonna get into some comics, and then if we're in the middle and our guest appears, then we'll just jump into his interview. If not, we'll just keep going with the comics.
Yep, let's do it. All right, let me get over to that tab. Because I was like, wait a minute, Mike's not here. I got to do this.
Your job.
Yeah, so before we do get started, we do want to remind you that there will be spoilers. So if you have not read your comics this past week, be aware of that and come back and watch this later after you do. Otherwise, we're going to spoil it maybe. We'll see. But we got some big books to talk about. First up, we have Captain America Sentinel of Liberty #1. We've seen the Sam Wilson one. Now we've got the Steve Rogers one. And from your social media post, Kat, I think this one impressed you. No?
Yeah, I was surprised by this because I don't really like Captain America that much. As an ongoing, I think his character is really cool, but I've never really been able to get into his his stories. And I thought this did a really good job at feeling fresh. Maybe not as much as the Punisher. I still think Punisher did that's doing a lot of different things, but I liked his voice a lot and I just enjoyed the vibe and I just got into it. And I think it just got me into the character itself because I feel like a lot of times Captain America is like, let's do this espionage thriller. And sometimes it just gets boring to me. And I'm like, well, who's the character? Why should I care? And this actually stopped the brakes. And not saying there's not the soldier aspect of the character, but we actually get to see who is Captain America.
Yeah, I kind of love that they grounded him again. I mean, he's always been a grounded character, but he, like you said, he's usually involved in these, big battles with Nazis and different forces like that. Arnim Zola going to weird Planet Z and all that stuff. And they kind of boiled him down to who is Captain America. Took him back to Brooklyn to his old apartment, and brought in his old radio company, and sent us down a hole with a mystery, which was kind of cool. It was a twist and was a different vibe for Captain America, or at least one that we haven't seen in a long time. So I really enjoyed it as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then we have another brand new #1 that we were all kind of excited for, which is Do a Powerbomb #1 from Image.
Me.
Yeah.
Did you know what the book was about? Because I think that's what I really enjoyed about it is that I knew it was about wrestling and that's about it. I like that I didn't know a premise and I was like, oh, that I didn't see that coming and I didn't see that coming. There was a lot of twists and turns in this issue.
Yeah, no, I didn't, like you said, I only knew it was about wrestling and I knew it was from the creator that did that Falcon book that Mike really liked. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but that's all I knew going in. And so, I was surprised by what happened in the book too. Is I didn't see that coming with the champ, with the mom, and I didn't know there was going to be this flash forward and her daughter was going to be trying to take up that mantle. I thought there was a lot of heart, a lot of human elements in this story that I wasn't expecting. So plus there was a supernatural twist too. Yeah,
there is at the end, but it didn't feel jarring at all. And the art, just the sequentials of the wrestling was really good. Got me hooked. So that's what we gotta do for our first issue.
Nice. Murder Falcon. Thank you, Mike. Manhattan. That's what it was called. It's crazy. We got Cat into a wrestling book.
I know. That's wild. I never saw that coming either. I like the idea that it had to do with wrestling, but it wasn't truly about wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't. There's a lot of wrestling books, even let's say Glow, that has a lot to do with the idea of what's going on in the ring and what the showmanship is. And this it had to do with this family more than anything.
Yeah, like Crimson Cage was a recent example that I know you didn't read it, but it was very. It was still a supernatural horror kind of book, and there was those elements, but a lot of it took place in the ring, and it had like a lot of '80s style wrestling stuff going on. So yeah, this was definitely different than that in that it was more focused on the people behind the scenes, behind the wrestlers, which was a really cool take. So. I'll be excited to see how it goes going forward.
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely getting
Yeah.
that second issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Kenneth. Awesome. And all right, so let's get into our number fives. Mine, I think I'm going to go with Naomi. I really actually like this issue. I thought this was, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it was decompressed, but the artwork always like shines for it.
Yeah, I thought it was I guess fun's not the right word given what's going on, but I don't know. It was more energetic than this run has been so far. I thought this issue, so I guess I enjoyed ramping things up a little bit and getting more characters involved and getting more to the action of what's going on. So
that makes sense. It just edged my top 5. I think I wanted a little bit more from the characters because that's what I like from Naomi. But no, they're doing a good job with this one. If you're not reading Naomi, I recommend it. I think it's a good book.
Could also be because I just watched that pilot recently that we talked about last week. And it's like, well, this is much better than that. Yeah. So
the comic is better than the pilot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So what was your number 5 then?
Mine was, I think, Radiant Black. Let me double check. Everything's out of order because I actually did not do my reviews this week because I was so sick. So I'm going to skip that this week. But yeah, Radiant Black, issue 15. I was really honestly, I really liked my books a lot this week. I really like this one. I like the idea of this kind of meta-textual issue about superhero TV shows and movies, and also you get a little bit more from the 2 Radiant Black hosts and their interpersonal relationship. But I just especially enjoyed the superhero movie aspect to it.
Yeah, there was I forget who asked it. Somebody asked if you had watched the video that they gave the QR code to. In the book.
I did not watch the video because I was sick when I read it, but I didn't know it existed. I just had no energy to watch it.
It's like five and a half minutes long. I did watch it right before the show actually, and it was a lot of fun. It made me want a Radiant Black cartoon. They got Will Friedle from Batman Beyond and Boy Meets World to do the voice of Radiant Black. And he's actually in the book, so that tied in really well to that. So that was really cool. But yeah, it was a fun little story. And it's like, okay, give me a Radiant Black cartoon now. Thank you very much. Yeah, I enjoyed the stuff with Nathan as well. It's like, what is he going to become? I feel like there's more to that story too. Like there's some deeper connection, and you can see it's already causing a rift between him and Marshall. So I'm really intrigued by that and how that's going to affect the relationship. And seeing some redeeming qualities in some of the other characters already now, and him thinking about what this is doing to him long term with all these people drafting off of his energy. And so a lot of cool elements to the story, but I like the movie stuff too, for sure. All right.
So that was good.
I think that was our next big book. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was also our next big book, so we'll skip that one. And go to Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 12.
The book I thought was Nightwing this week in my delirium.
Yeah. I was like,
but yes.
For full disclosure, Kat always comes up with titles for the show. And then we discuss them, and if we have other ideas, we pitch them back and forth. But one of hers was like spoilers for Nightwing, and I was like, Kat, Nightwing doesn't come out it comes out this week.
Wait, and I probably in Brand's mind said, wait, you're spoiling a book that hasn't come out yet. It's like, no, right. It's just Superman came out. And it's so confusing because Tom Taylor writes both of these books,
right.
And they're not similar. But when Nightwing shows up in the book, it's especially since they've had the crossover. I'm like, what book is this? I didn't like it, but yeah, that's it. I don't really. I didn't like this issue.
I I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I haven't loved this book since like the first 3 issues.
Yeah, since
Sadly,
I would say
so
like the first arc. I
yeah,
liked the first arc for the most part, and then when they like got into the plot, I wasn't as interested. And it's I know people could complain about Jay and Superboy all they want, but I think that's how honestly the more interesting side to me is like the interpersonal relationships, but they don't do anything with them. Like I want to see their
yeah,
romance, and you don't see any of it.
yeah. I thought it was weird how his mask just disappeared to
I didn't
Jay's.
get that scene at all. I thought again in my delirium, I was just like, maybe I just didn't read that correctly. And then it's a big plot point too, where it's just like,
Yeah.
where's my mask? I'm like, where did that why did he take it off?
Yeah, it's like, well, you didn't have it on, dummy. It's yeah, I don't know. It was so weird. I don't know if there was like miscommunication with the direction of the art or something happened there because I assume we should have seen it like disappear or fade away or become invisible or something, but we didn't get that. At least if we did, I
No.
totally missed it. But
No, I don't think you did. I don't think you did at
okay,
all.
yeah, I don't know. I want to love this book, and I like the characters, and I think the writing is. I mean, it's decent. It's not a bad book. I'm enjoying it, but I don't love it, and it hasn't made my top 5 for quite some time.
Oh no, I don't remember the last time it made it, and it's sad because again, like I want to love this book. I really do like the Tim Drake representation of his bi-ness so far. I mean, we'll see where it goes in the ongoing book, but I've really enjoyed those short stories thus far. Where Superman has so much real estate, John Kent's showcased in so many places, and I feel like they could just be doing so much more with his character.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they barely
Um,
explored it even in this book, like we talked about
yeah,
before.
they just don't really have a romance. They just like gotta talk to each other, kind of,
Yeah.
not really about themselves.
No.
Um, Bronze Page says, "Hey, Kat and Brant, Kat, you sound like you have a cold. I hope you feel better soon. Thank you. Getting over COVID, but I personally do feel better. It's just congestion."
Yeah. I think I actually avoided COVID, even though everyone around me has it. Like I had a really bad headache for 2 days and I got really tired for a couple of days, but I didn't have any other symptoms. So I
You're
didn't
so
even bother with the
lucky. But
test.
you
Yeah.
had it recently, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So I
did.
think
So
that's
did
probably
Lisa.
the reason why. Oh, she got it
Yeah.
twice?
Yeah. She got it twice.
Oh
Yeah.
no. I thought like
So
once you had it for like a month, like I understand you can get it
it's,
again, but you would think it's been recently.
yeah, I think it's the third time somebody else in her family has had it. So
Oh my god. That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy.
It sucks, guys. If you haven't
Yeah,
had
it
it,
does.
sucks.
Yeah, it's not fun. Not at all.
No. And it's very hard to like focus. That was my biggest thing. Like even when I was like fine, like I would say the first 2 days I was really sick. That night
Yeah.
I was like, I'll talk to Bran after our show and like we'll just catch up. I'm like, I gotta go. I'm really not
Yeah.
feeling well.
Yep.
And I was like had the chills and like I found out I had like 100 and something temperature when I got off. Like, yeah, okay, I wasn't feeling well. And like for a day or
Yeah.
two that happened. And then after that, I was like, I was fine. But I actually had a milder case than the rest of my family. Like they're still
That's
like
good.
kind of sick. So, oh, but what I was saying is, see, COVID brain. That I feel like when I had COVID, I couldn't focus on anything. Like even if I was awake and like feeling fine, it was just like
Yeah.
could not focus.
Yeah. Somebody T Jones said if you had the headache, you had COVID. Maybe. I've still distanced. I haven't left the house. So, I'm being careful just in case. But we only have one test left on hand, so I was like, well, unless I'm exhibiting a bunch of symptoms, I'm not going to waste it. So I'll distance until the period's over, or whatever. So
yeah. So that's our COVID journey. Hope
yeah,
you enjoyed it.
we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. So let's move into our number 4s then. My number 4 was actually do a power bomb. So we already talked about that one. What was yours?
Mine was Tim Drake, DC Pride.
Yes.
Preface. Most of it's a reprint, but the last story, which it kind of accumulates into one issue, it's like 20 something pages, is the Stephanie Brown story that everyone's been begging for, but probably did not pick up this issue to actually read. But they actually do talk about him being bi, and we get to see their relationship and their friendship. And I thought it was written very well. I really enjoyed it. I liked where it went. I think it was very much in Stephanie's character, the way she reacted. I thought it was cute. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think the culmination of the whole entire story is good, and I'm glad that we're getting more of it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get this because I thought it was all reprint until you told me it wasn't. So I did get this. It didn't make my top 5 because most of it was reprint.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the Stephanie story. And, I liked, when she met Bernard for the first time, she was like, be cool, be cool, be cool. And then she just like is not cool at all. It's just like, I can't, I'm thrilled to meet you. And, he's, all that stuff. So it was good. It was very Stephanie. I agree. And I'm glad they're in a good place, Tim and Stephanie. So
I'm glad they talked about it. Tevye asks, do you think this Pride Month issue is necessary? Because for me, it doesn't feel earned, but wrong at least. I don't know what makes you feel wrong about it. No, it's very necessary because this is the very topic that people were like complaining about. They're like, well, how was Stephanie? How's she going to react? And they answer that question. And I feel like, again, it always comes to the complaints where it's like, are you going to even read this Tim Drake book? And those people didn't read the Tim Drake book, so how does it affect you? Why are you still complaining about it,
I think for people that didn't get Batman Urban Legend, so they missed this story, this was great to collect it in its own book. For people that did read that story, I'm glad that they added new content. I wish they could have framed it, like started with like a short at the beginning, so you weren't just like, okay, let me skip past the first like 20 pages and get to that new story or whatever. But I think it was... I don't know that it had to be earned, but yeah.
Is
I
Superman going to space fighting an alien earned? No. But it's a good story. And I don't know. I guess my question in that regard is like, what does earned mean? Is the conversation between him and Steph? Or I guess it's a question. Okay, let me back up. And then is Tim Drake being bisexual? Why do we need... Okay, I'm not going to answer that. We've talked about that enough here. Why does anyone need to be bisexual? Why do I need to be bisexual? Have I earned my bisexual label? Do I have a full arc? It doesn't, like, if there's no earning of a, like, have you earned your, like, if for people who identify as straight, do they earn their straight label? Did Superman earn being straight?
Yeah, I mean, if Son of Kal-El's a book too, by the way, and as we talked about, they don't dive into that much at all. I think Tim is very well deserving of a one shot here. What I don't even, I agree with you, Kat. I don't understand the comment there. But.
Yes, but obviously, thank you for your comment, Tevye, on that. But yeah, I guess my frustration comes from what I was just saying before. I feel like people don't read the book and then they're just complain and they're like, you'll never make any people happy when it comes to representation.
Right.
Yeah, but go read By Visibility because my great friend Phil actually wrote a story for By Visibility about that story, deconstructed it.
Nice.
So it's about, so it's a superhero story about a boy wonder who comes out, and then it's him, the Tim Drake character or the Superboy character actually talking to the fan outside the pages and talking about the debates we're having. And I think Phil brings up a lot of great points. So definitely recommend it if go check out By Visibility if you want more conversations about that. But anyways, that was my number 4. Your number 4 was Do a Power Bomb,
right? Yeah. So on to our next big book, which is debatable whether this was a big book or not, but Fantastic Four number 44.
It's so interesting. I don't think we've talked about it in the news, or maybe I wasn't here. I don't know, but maybe I forgot to write it. Dan Slott's gonna be done with his Fantastic Four run at the end of this.
Oh wow! I did not realize that. That's
he's gonna
crazy.
be done, which sucks because it's like I've been loving your run. I wish you didn't end it on this because I haven't been enjoying this. I want to see where the sister stuff goes. Is someone else gonna pick it up? And this issue is like another just there. I don't even really remember what happened in it. I think Rita and Sue had a conversation about him being like, "But I love my family. None of this was important." And then every 10,000 other things happen in this issue, but nothing happens at the same time. There's just a lot of moving pieces where they do nothing.
Right. I mean, it was still just a big fight, and the main takeaway was Reed finally told Sue he's dying, and then she's like, "No." And that was pretty much it. It was all fighting and very action heavy, which is fine. I'm sad that that's going to be the end of his run. Yeah, I would like to see him do like a wrap-up issue.
Yeah.
Looks like
we do have a couple. Here's you can read the super chat if you like.
Gus asks, do you keep all your comics in bag and board or slab? I think Mike has been thinking about slabs. I know he's bought a couple, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely bought some.
Yeah, I don't have any slabs. All mine are in bags and boards.
I have a few slabs, but mostly bought. I have not done it myself. Just bag of boards for me, and I still have to catch up with a few that I have to bag and board. But I've been better with it. Like now, after this show, I'll bag and board the books I have. It's just the ones that I missed. I still have to bag and board, and I gotta sit down and do those. But other than that, I just bag and board them.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the question. We also have a question from Kenneth. Is Mark Waid taking over Dan's slot after the Fantastic Four? Not that I know of. I think he's doing more DC stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what, but yeah, we'll definitely talk about it once we do know who's taking over Fantastic Four.
If anyone.
Yeah, if anyone, or if it just disappears again.
Might just disappear again.
Yeah. So not much to say about Fantastic Four. we kind of already talked about Naomi as well. So I guess we will go into our number threes. So what was your number 3, Kat?
Mine was Captain America. We already talked about
Mine too, actually.
Nice.
There you go. That was quick. All right. Batgirls. We haven't talked about that one yet. So Batgirls number 7.
There's not much to talk about with this book.
But there's so much to read.
There is so much to read. Not much to talk about. I like their outfits. Like, I like them going out. It's such a hard book because I don't just like it. It's very Burnside in a way, where I remember reading Burnside where I was like, I like Batgirl a lot. This is not my type of book, but I'm glad someone enjoys it. And I'll read it just because I like Barbara. And it's the same vibe for this book where it's like, I get why like people would enjoy this, and I'm happy for the people that will enjoy it, but I'm reading it because I'm a Batgirl fan, but I'm not really loving it. Yeah,
I mean, every time we talk about this book, we basically say the same thing. But yeah, I'm right there with you. It's like I love Stephanie and Cass and Barbara, but I do love their dynamics still, and their banter even in this issue. You know, Cass wanting to get dressed up, and then both of them realize, and Stephanie not wanting to do the party, and then both of them realizing, oh, we're going to be on the roof. We're good. But it was just, I don't know. When they talk, it's fun, but the actual plot of the story it's just kind of there.
Boring.
So
yeah. It's because it's so connected to that future state stuff, which I don't like.
The Seer and Saints and Simon Saint and all that stuff. Yeah, I wish they would move past that. If they can move past that, maybe do something completely different. Maybe it'd be more interesting. Yeah,
honestly, like even with the Burnside stuff, where I kind of I guess like Burnside a little bit more. There was always like moments where she went out or like did something. This book had that in the first couple of issues, which I liked the book a little bit more in like the first or second issue. But now it's not, you don't even really get to see him interact as just like Cass and Steph, you know? There's just like, oh, let's go find Simon Saint.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so our next book then is Power Rangers number 20, powerful issue. This issue, the funeral of Jason's mom, and wow, some heavy stuff.
This was a good issue. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. I think the only thing that took me away from it was the other Power Ranger, Andros, I think his name is, from Power Rangers in Space. And I got it, though, because it tied into the whole story. Like, he lost his family and what he's doing. But I kept wanting to go back to Jason because Jason's stuff was so good with his mom. And, it was just a really powerful issue. It's just Ryan doing his thing.
Yeah, it was just some really good stuff. And Jason, like, dealing with the grief in his way and just, telling everybody he's okay when clearly he's not. Nobody is after, losing somebody, and his whole family's basically broken apart in this issue. His dad's leaving and, dealing with all that and trying to, keep his mind busy, I guess, was his way of dealing with it. But it was, I love the emotional aspect of this issue. The Andros stuff was fine. I didn't mind it, but I agree the Jason stuff and the stuff on Earth was more powerful, but I really enjoyed it as well. And it actually was my number 2, so that's where we're at.
That was my number 2 as well. Yeah.
Wow. we're just moving right along this week.
Are.
Well, we've already talked about the DC Pride Tim Drake special. So that leaves us with the best Archie comic ever, number one. So what did you think about this?
It was too short, but I liked all the stories. There wasn't a story I disliked. It just was like, I want more of this.
Yeah, I honestly, and this isn't just because we had him on the show, but I honestly really liked Ruben's story the best of the three. I liked all three of them.
That was the first one, right? Well, that was
it was the last one, the espionage one.
That's the one I like the most too. Yeah, no, I know, and I was even on for the interview, so I have no bias here. I really enjoyed that one. I was like, I want to see more of that. Like, I want to see them. Like, it was just a genre I haven't seen Archie explore.
Yeah, and you're right. It was too short. There wasn't enough of it. I would have liked to have seen more, but the Pure Heart one was just it was fun. It was a lot of fun story, and Jughead being a barbarian that was after a giant hamburger is just total Jughead. It was just a fun story. But yeah, that spy one I just really liked. I would like to see a whole mini series of that.
No, me too. That'd be fun.
Very cool. All right, so we're already up to our number ones. I have not heard from our guest yet, so we may be rescheduling that, unfortunately. So I apologize for that. Miscommunication, and we were a little bit late, so I think it happens. Anyway, let's get into our number one books. Mine is Radiant Black, so we already talked about that a little bit. But yeah, well, actually, we talked about it in depth, so yeah.
We did. We even talked about the animated short.
Do a powerbomb.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Is it really? Okay. Nice.
Yeah, no, I literally really enjoyed it. I was very pleasantly surprised by this issue. Because I didn't expect to love it. And I was like, well, it was just really well written. It was just really well structured. And I think sometimes it's hard to surprise you with the first issue. A lot of books are just focused so much on action, they forget character. And I think this book did such a good job at say, oh no, you have to pick up the second issue because this is a cliffhanger, and this is, I just thought it was really well written, honestly. Even if you just take away, if I'm a robot and I'm just trying to analyze as just what makes a good comic, I think this kind of had it all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you liked it that much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all our comics, and I guess we'll go into that most anticipated now. And talk about the books we're looking forward to coming out. And again, this week we've only got one duplicate between the two of us, which is crazy.
That's a rarity. That is a rarity.
Know. 2 weeks in a row, though, this has happened. So that's pretty cool. And again, it's I think last week it was very similar. Like my number 3 was your number 1 or vice versa. And it's kind of that way this week as well. So I'll go first this time. The books I'm looking forward to, Nocterra number 11, because some big things happened in the last issue, and the lights went out, and there were these giant shades coming at them, and weird stuff going on. So it's, we're getting to the climax of this arc. So it's. I think this is actually the conclusion of this second arc. So should be a big issue. We got Nightwing number 93, which his sister's coming back into play. So I'm excited about that. Finally getting back to that main story. Yeah. And then Dark Crisis Young Justice number 1, which coincidentally is your number 3. So I'll just go right into you to talk about that.
Which is so funny. We actually have our guests on in the background. So
I see him now.
I don't know if you hear us, but we're just finishing up a little segment that we do. So we'll pull you on when we finish it. Dark Crisis Young Justice was my number 3. I'm pretty excited for that one, just because the art looked really good. And the Young Justice has a big history, so I'm curious to see how that's going to be affected by Crisis. Marvel voices Pride, of course, just because I'm excited to see what Marvel does with their Pride issue this year. I don't know who's going to be in it. I don't know if it'll be like a Nico, Carolina, or Black Cat like last year. So I'm curious to see which characters will appear. And then Rogue Sun, I really love that cliffhanger with the mom last issue. So I'm super excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not a ton of books coming out next week, but
yeah. So I ended up, I think I told you I had like 20 something books this week. I ended up only doing 16. So I was like, okay, I got to make some choices here. But anyway, we've got our guest.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah, we've got our guest in the wing, so we will bring him on. and we're happy to welcome DJ Keawekane. What's up, DJ?
Sorry, guys. I got mixed up. I thought you guys were tomorrow. My bad.
No worries. Yeah, it's always Tuesdays for us. 10 years of Tuesdays, man.
I wrote you guys on Wednesday slot. I'm sorry, that was my fault.
No worry. It's fine. Totally cool. We got all our show done, so now the rest of the time is all about you and your book, man. So first, this is the first time you and I have actually seen face to face and talked in like 18 years. So I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm late. I thought it was tomorrow.
No, don't even worry about it, man. It's cool. It's fine. We actually ended earlier than we normally do, so we got time.
You made perfect timing for it, honestly.
Yeah.
It was just perfect. Because sometimes when it's in the beginning, we feel like we have to like shove you off. So it's good that it's at the end where it's just like, oh, you got all the time in the world to talk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just to give a little background, DJ and I go way back when we were both breaking into comics, really. We were working together on a few projects, did a pitch that I pitched to Image in some places, and DJ did the art for, and then we started working on a webcomic together. I think it was like 2009.
Yeah.
And it's where Lisa and I met. So, I credit DJ for Lisa, me meeting my wife, basically. So
it's a big interview.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, welcome to the show, DJ. Glad to have you, man. So,
thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is DJ Keawekane, artist and writer and creator from Hilo, Hawaii. Been doing this, like Brand said, for 18 years. I don't know what else. I'm just.
No, it's cool, man.
Excited to be here, I guess. And then
yeah.
So you're doing your first Kickstarter, I hear. I mean, that's a big feat. Me and Bran are no strangers to Kickstarter, so we know how it feels. So what's your thought process right now? How far are you in your? Well, I guess we'll find out. Why did you choose Kickstarter, and what are the things you've learned as you've been doing this Kickstarter?
Well, I mean, Kickstarter was like the natural progression. It seems that would be the best way to go. I mean, I was trying to do this like 2 years ago, but it just took me forever to just break away from art mode and get into like promotion and clipping video, like all of that stuff just took me just forever, just because I was so used to just drawing the comics, and I'm like the worst at computer stuff, so that's why
Kickstarter, when you're getting into it for the first time, it's a big deal. You gotta it's a big learning curve in trying to get everything right and everything. So the book looks amazing, by the way. It's called Exillion, Creed of the Knightenhawke, issue 1. And I know you've been working on this book for a long time, and this has been kind of your passion project. Right. Tell us a little bit about Exillion.
So Exillion, okay. So it was kind of good. I just got off the podcast went out of show, and then sorry for forgetting this one. But anyway, so
no worries.
So I was the kid that was always drawing in class. I was always getting in trouble because when the teacher would look, it looks like I'm doing my homework or my schoolwork, but I'm not. I'm actually just drawing on the back of the worksheet that she gave us. And then so when she actually looks down and looks good at what I'm doing, she realizes I'm drawing on the back of the sheet and I didn't even finish the schoolwork. And so I would get in trouble for that. And so I always loved drawing. And then when I graduated, I went to college, and then I asked the teacher, how do I get into like Marvel Comics? Because I love Marvel Comics. And my teacher said, you got to move to New York City. So I was like, okay, forget about that. So I just forgot about that. And so I just went on with life and all of that. And then, but in 2002, I got into a car accident, broke my back in 3 places. And then when I was in recovery, my mom gave me my sketchbook from high school. And she said, here, son, draw. And so when I opened up my sketchbook and I started looking at all the drawings again, I started falling in love with drawing and all of that. And so I had the chance to kind of pivot in life and say, maybe I should just start drawing again. And then, so I started, designing all of the characters and like the beginnings of what would become what is now Exillion. So that kind of shifted everything, and then from that time, that's when we met in like 2000. I think it was 3 or 4.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I found the internet, and then I found digital webbing, and then we started hooking up, and then we started in that whole long journey that we was on. And I knew you've been doing Kickstarter for a while. It took me this long just to get to this point, but yeah. So Exillion is my baby. It's like a sword and sorcery fantasy comic. So if you like D&D, Warcraft, the sword and sorcery fantasy, if you like that stuff, and then my art style is real like 90s, X-Men, whatever you want to call it, battle chasers and Telos, and you know what I mean, the cross-gen stuff. I took my cues off of that, and so yeah, took me this long to get here. I actually been selling this comic here in Hawaii at conventions over here, and I got actually 5 issues done.
Nice.
But then I'm just trying to grow the audience and just trying to branch out and establish trust with everybody. So I'm just giving, issue 1, like new covers, new variant covers, and then establish trust with and build up the audience and just build that way.
Absolutely.
Printing of issue 1 right here.
Oh, nice. Beautiful. Let me show that again. There we go. Very cool.
You can get this at the campaign too.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, the book looks great, man. And I've always been a fan of your art. We've like I said, we worked together on some stuff before, and it just I'm a big sword and sorcery fan too, as you know. So this is exciting to me, and congratulations, because you're already funded, and you still got 2 weeks to go. So that's awesome. Your first Kickstarter already
big
funded.
Accomplishment.
Yeah, you funded early too, right? Like it was the first week.
Yeah. I wish I put the goal up higher, because I was like, that took all the wind out of my sails.
Yeah, but now it could go anywhere, right? So just keep growing that. Yeah, so that's awesome. So man, this is really cool. I'm really happy for you that you're spreading your wings, man, getting it out there for more people to see and get familiar with your work. Because like I said, I've been a big fan of it, and I know a lot of people out there will be as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what was I gonna say? Sorry, I blanked out. Anyways, cool. You and Lisa you guys did a bunch of Kickstarters, yeah?
Yeah. Our first one was in 2017, and we just kind of built on it from there. I don't even know like how many we've done at this point.
Wow. You had a pretty big one, about a month ago.
Yeah, I think it wrapped in May. Lisa's book Bloom Pretty. We were fortunate enough to do 40K on that one, so that was like our biggest success yet. So we've got one. Yeah, we've got one live right now called Curiouser. That's it's doing pretty well too. It's not quite funded, but we're getting there. But we've been in the Kickstarter game for a bit, and credit to the Comics Launch course, which you're a part of now as well.
Right.
Kind of got us our start. Yeah. A lot of good people there.
Yeah, that was why it took me 2 years. I was just trying to ingest all of that information, and I was like,
it's a lot of information. Yeah.
Just got to dive in.
It works.
We kind of did it backwards. Like we were setting up our launch, and then we were like, let's jump into this course and get some help, because we don't know what we're doing. And it's like our launch was in like 2 weeks, and we were like, okay, let's just absorb all this. And fortunately, we got enough information to fund at least. But we've definitely grown and learned more about the game since then. And I know you will too, as you do more of these, it starts to become second nature to you. So. But you're off to a great start, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. I was so nervous before I hit the launch button. I was like, I overthought everything. I overthought everything, and I built this big monster up, and I was afraid. Like honestly, I was just so nervous and afraid, and I was like, "Oh God, I don't want to do this." And then I was like, "Oh."
Well, the first is definitely the hardest, and then after that, you learn the tricks of the trade, and you learn.
Yeah.
So you get better at it.
you always wonder, like, are people actually going to like this? Are they going to back this? Am I going to fund?
Someone's gonna back
all
it.
these questions? Yeah.
I've never seen a Kickstarter that had 0 backers. So.
Yeah.
I guess that's
yeah.
cool. I feel bad. I mean, I love the people that back. They already bought issue 1. Like, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
You know, because I've been selling this over here, right? And so
Right.
my family and friends are all here, and so they all bought them because they all supported me
Sure.
before. And I'm trying to get it onto this new thing, but you know, we know from the comics launch that whole opening day and all of that, trying to get them. And so
Yeah.
they backed again, and this is like the 3rd time I'm actually launching this thing. I mean, it's just moving them, you know. But this is my baby, so I gotta, so you know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, like I said, though, sky's the limit from here. So I'm just excited for you, man. I'm going to keep talking about this. You know, I'm happy for you, and I wish all the success in the world for you and for Exillion, because I've seen this at different stages over the years, and I've seen like since the first character sketches and all that stuff, and it's like, man, I can't wait for the book, and you know, now I get the chance to read. You were kind enough to send us a PDF, which I read. I didn't get to read the whole issue before the show, but I read a good portion of it, and I really enjoyed it. It's right up my alley. Like I said, I love all that kind of stuff, fantasy and everything. That's kind of my jam. So all into it, man. Yeah, good story. I can't wait to finish it. Yeah, so. You mentioned you're a Marvel Comics fan. You fit right in here because that's us.
Love
We're all Marvel people. Yeah. What's your favorite series right now?
Well, right now I'm not actually reading.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not actually reading it. I've just been so busy. I haven't read comics like lately. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I just read whatever I pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. So okay. So what's your favorite Marvel character then? We'll do that.
I'm an X-Men guy. X-Men.
Okay.
That's my jam. You know what I mean?
So. Well, you get back into X-Men. They got a lot going on right now. So.
Oh man, it's crazy right in the X-Men world. Yeah. Okay. They can't die right now.
I have a hard time going back into the store and figuring out how it works. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm old. You know what I mean? I'm old. I used to be Wednesday Warrior, and we'd come in and this is your new comics, and now it's like, what is? Like, I just cannot follow them, and it's like I don't have that much money. I mean, I can't spend all.
Oh yeah, right.
So I was just like, I'll just wait for the thing to come out in trade.
Yeah, no, trade and wait is probably your better bet than having to get the floppies sometimes, especially if you're jumping in again.
But I'm a floppies guy. You know what I mean? Like but I'm also an art guy. You know what I mean? So I'll follow the artist. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'll follow the artist, and I was like, oh, that looks good. I'll jump on that, and then I'll go hound those issues down. You know what I mean? And I'd rather have the single issues for some reason. You know what I mean? That's just
I mean, we do a weekly comic show. Obviously, we buy our fair share of floppies too, man. I understand it. It's just that that, like Kat said, that old school mentality. It's just that's what we're into, and that's what we're into. Man, I was going to ask you. I was going to say you can't call yourself old because we're the same age, man. So don't make me feel old.
Don't worry, I can call you guys old then.
I think we have the same birthday, actually, right? Same birthday, same year.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I mean, my kids and my wife call me old all the time, so I'm just used to it.
Oh, Lisa calls me old too because she's younger than me. So she's like 6 years younger than me, so she can call me old. Man, we're gonna have to do this again sometime when you got to get the next issue out, maybe.
Yeah, you got to get that Kickstarter going soon. How many issues do you have done? I mean, because you've been working on it for so long. 5?
Right? I'm working on 6 right now.
So you have time to launch that issue 2. You go right into it.
Yeah.
That's a good game plan. Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah.
Do you see this as ongoing, or is it like you got an ending in mind?
I have an ending after 6, but if like if the audience is there, I can keep going. You know.
Awesome. So, yeah.
It'll end nicely at 6, but if the audience is like game, I can just keep pumping them all. You know. I mean, they're gonna have to wait for me and all of that, but
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to plug or anything else?
Oh, we do have a question from the audience.
Oh,
T.
cool.
Jones asks, "Where did the name Exillion?"
Oh, that's a
come
good
from?
question.
Sheesh, that's a good question. Where did it come from? I was thinking
Just like the sound of it.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. That's exactly what it is. The Tolkien, like it sounds, so you just I went, oh man, you remember the name generators we used to run?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I spent so many hours on those name generators for those fantasy stuff, you know what I mean? And I would have like one notepad and just write all these names down and just like, oh, this sounds cool, and just scratch out this and then just jumble all these names together. So if you actually pick up my series Exillion, you can see all of these crazy names that is like, oh, okay, that sounds, but some of it might sound derivative, or some is, it'll sound fresh because it's just all from those names.
Yeah. You can definitely tell like influences. Like there's a little Lord of the Rings here. There's a little D&D there. Yeah, you get that, but it's definitely its own story. Your capital is like Galandor, I think.
Yeah,
is what it's called. Yeah, so it's cool names like that. So
yeah,
if you're if you're in that fantasy stuff, and all those crazy names, you'll love this. So and very creative.
Yeah, and then plus two, it was like Deadpool is out and Death whatever is out, and all the names have been taken. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Breaking apart these names and shoving them together, you know what I mean? So it's like whatever name you would try Google, it would pop up and somebody already took the name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other question, and you touched upon when you started it, but how did you come up with the concept? That's from Tevia.
The concept was actually, oh man, this is the don't do this, kids. But anyway, so so when I got when I was working on them, it was actually gonna be kind of like steampunk, fantasy, technological, like just mashed all together into all of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I don't want to draw that.
Oh
man, I don't want to draw that. Oh, I think let's just keep it fantasy, like, you know what I mean? Because it's like at the time I wasn't that good at drawing everything, so I was like, oh, maybe let's just keep it in the fantasy realm, so I can draw castles and mountains and trees, you know what I mean? So I was like,
yeah,
I don't want to draw I don't want to take like 2 days ruling out perspective lines, you know what I mean? I don't want that to bog me down. I could draw castles and I could draw horses and that stuff, and that's fine. And it should be it should be fun and not like labor intensive. Like, I don't know if you guys draw comics, but when you draw comics, especially like Marvel,
we wish we could.
Yeah, do that. Then you got to rule out all those lines and all of that.
Yeah.
Ever, and you got to reference, and oh god, that's just a whole. I just never wanted to do that, so I was like, okay, the sci-fi is out, you know what I mean, the planet stuff is out. I don't know how to draw tech and all of that stuff, so all of that is out. So yeah, that's where came out deductive.
That's funny. It's weird because like Lisa hates coloring like tech stuff. So she's like, if it's like, she doesn't love superheroes either. So like if it's superhero or if it's like got a lot of tech stuff, and she used to flat Iron Man and she hated every second of it just because of all the stuff you gotta pull out of that, all the little pieces and everything. So
well, Iron Man is just green and yellow.
It was like, I forget who was it, the artist on it, but it was like super detailed, the pages that she was working on at the time. Yeah, it was like all kinds of shrapnel and all kind. It was War Machine and stuff like that. So
I would love to do that. I mean, but
yeah,
I would love to get paid to do that. Not
not for free.
When you get paid to do something, it's like, yeah, I'll do that. When you got to do them on your own, it's like, well, maybe not.
Yeah. So if you guys have ever heard of the webcomic Spy 16, that's what we did together for years. Nice. It was like, I think we did 4 issues of it. Started off as a Zuda competition, and we transitioned the writer Tim Simmons and Lisa and myself and DJ. And we've talked about reviving it at some point, so keep your eyes on that, because Lisa and I have been talking about it again. That we're going to talk to you and Tim about it sometime soon. We got some ideas, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I know I got this, and the script is so good, but he put this. But Tim put them in like what was it? What was that place? Not China.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was
It's been a while since I looked at it. Yeah.
And I was like, I can't draw that. Draw that place. What's that place? I want to say. Anyways, yeah, he had the locations, and I was like, oh man, I'm so bad with actual locations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I remember he put the Eiffel Tower on like the last issue of Spice 16, and I was like,
yeah,
Eiffel Tower is going to just blacked out.
Right. Oh, no. Didn't we touch like the Manhattan Project and stuff like that? I don't remember.
Right. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah. So that's a stretch. I mean, but I got to draw Tesla. That was cool.
Yeah. It was a fun book to work on, and it was like really collaborative. Yeah.
I wish we could keep doing, but I was just I started a different job, and I just couldn't keep up. Like
Yeah, we were all four of us were going off in different directions at that time, so it was fine. I think we wrapped it up nicely, and but we'll definitely revisit that. So we'll talk about that. But right now the focus is on Exillion, which is live for 15 more days on Kickstarter. Go check it out. There'll be a link in the show notes once this is post live, and So thank you, DJ, for being on the show, man. We got to chat more. Yeah. We'll definitely have you on again, and you and I will chat obviously off air later on. So cool. But for everybody else, thank you for joining this episode of Comic Book Weekly. We appreciate you as always. And Kat, did you have anything you wanted to plug before we go?
Just my Kickstarter. If you guys want to go check it out, still buy visibility. Still buy. First day, we're doing really well. So we're gearing to 200 backers in the first day. So very happy with it. Nice. So good stuff. And what else do I got going on? I will actually have my comic reviews tomorrow. A lot of packing for fulfillment and stuff like that. But that is what's going on. And you have your Kickstarter as well, Brant. So
yeah. CuriousOrComic.com will take you there. Back to Wonderland. Check it out. Also 2 weeks to go. So we'll be ending around the same time, DJ. I think you got one more day than me. But so go check that out on Kickstarter. CuriousOrComic.com will take you there. And aside from that, I think that's all for me this week. I keep promising another episode of my wrestling podcast, but I haven't had the energy to do it yet. So we'll see what happens this week. There is some stuff to talk about, but there's also an AEW pay-per-view coming up this weekend, so I might wait for that and just talk about that. So we'll see. But DJ, any links where people can follow your work?
First Watch Studios on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then Facebook has an Exillion page, and or just my name, DJ Keawekane, on Instagram and Twitter, and that's it.
Awesome. Very cool. I'll post the Twitter because that's the one I found first. All right. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, DJ, for being on the show. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode of this show. Hit that bell so you get all the notifications. Give us a like because it does help us. And follow us on social media at Comic Frontline across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, here on YouTube. And next week, hopefully, Mike will be back with us and for a brand new episode. So until then, take care.